Hey there, everyone. I'm meteorologist Cassie Nall, and this is your 10 weather impact recap for the week. Let's start with a look at the top weather stories from around the country. The National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration, commonly known as NOAA, has released their outlook for the 2025 Atlantic hurricane season. They are forecasting a 60% chance of above-average activity with 13 to 19 named storms, 6 to 10 of those becoming hurricanes, and 3 to 5 reaching major hurricane status of Category 3 or stronger. This forecast is similar to the outlook from the Colorado State University released back in April. Average numbers are 14, 7, and 3 respectively. The Atlantic hurricane season runs from June 1st to November 30th, and we'll be talking a lot more about the tropics in next week's recap. House Democrats have introduced legislation that would prevent further cuts to NOAA and the National Weather Service. With many NWS offices operating short-staffed and hurricane season just days away, the measure is an amendment to the Trump administration's initial budget request that would slash more than $1.5 billion from NOAA. At least 8 of the 122 weather forecasting offices around the country are no longer able to operate overnight, including the NWS in Jackson, Kentucky. On the night of the deadly EF4 tornado on May 16th, the staff went all hands on deck to make sure warnings were issued as early as possible to save lives. Just in time for Memorial Day weekend, also known as the unofficial start to summer, lake levels in East Tennessee have reached full summer pool. Each year, the Tennessee Valley Authority lowers lake levels through the fall months to create flood storage space in reservoirs during the wet season through winter and spring. Now, those water levels are back up just in time for the summer recreation on lakes. And May is Skin Cancer Awareness Month, so now is a good time to remind everyone to wear your sunscreen. The UV index is a measure of the sun's ultraviolet radiation and predictor of risk of harm to your skin from unprotected sun exposure. The higher the number, the quicker you can burn, which can happen even on cloudy days. So grab that sunscreen, hats, sunglasses, and sun protective clothing if you'll be spending time outside this summer. Right now is typically one of Asheville, North Carolina's busiest seasons, with tourists visiting the area as the weather warms up. But this year, it looks a little different. After Hurricane Helene hit western North Carolina in September, downtown businesses lost water and power. Now that they're back up and running, Sam Perez spoke to people in the area who say they're not seeing as many visitors, so they're calling on you to help.
The shop has been here since 1986.
The Chocolate Fetish, a staple in downtown Asheville. Operations manager Eric Saborski says the last 7 months have been difficult.
We've been trying to get back to as normal as we can.
But after Hurricane Helene hit western North Carolina,
the foot traffic is definitely slower than it usually is this time of year.
He says their fall season was completely shot, followed by a slow holiday season, an experience shared by other downtown businesses.
This is Spiritex. It's a sustainable fashion company. It's all organic cotton, and it's all handmade here in Asheville.
Maddie Grant works as a sales associate at the store, which survived Helene.
I don't know how, our warehouse held up, but it did.
And now, Grant says they need help from shoppers.
Asheville relies heavily on tourism. That's what we're going to need to help rebuild.
A message Saborski says might have gotten lost among the devastation in communities right outside the downtown Asheville area.
We appreciate the nationwide coverage of this to remind people of what's going on in this area, but I think a lot of people from out of town, they don't know those surrounding areas, so everything's been referenced as the Asheville area. Asheville. While Asheville is still, has some ways to come on recovering, a lot of Asheville is open, and we need that coming in.
While visitors from other areas might be few and far between.
The local community, the way that they bound together, got together, were looking out for one another, it really was some of the most inspiring things I've ever seen in the middle of complete chaos and destruction.
Destruction that the community is coming back from.
Downtown Asheville is open for business. Most of the businesses are open. We would love to see you. We could really use the support.
A major bridge in Greene County has opened a month earlier than expected. TDOT leaders opened the Kinser Bridge to traffic on Friday. The bridge was washed away by the Nolichucky River during flooding from Hurricane Helene. State and local leaders hosted a ceremony to celebrate the reopening of this vital roadway. New proposed budget cuts to the National Park Service could impact the Smokies, the most visited national park in the country. Maria Guzman shares how the potential changes could impact East Tennessee.
if investments bring returns over time, then people like Phil Francis say East Tennessee's great outdoors is worth every penny.
And without these attractions, I'm afraid that fewer people are going to come.
He worked more than 40 years with the National Park Service. He says managing a national park site is more complex than people think.
We have fires, we have bear-human encounters, we have people who do search and rescues, people who do the day-to-day maintenance.
But the future of NPS and jobs remains unclear. President Trump's 2026 budget plan calls for a $1 billion cut to the National Park Service. Phil says a budget cut could hurt East Tennessee communities with a national park in their backyard.
The idea of building or creating a national park to help boost the economy has been wildly successful.
Numbers from NPS show visitors spent $55 billion in communities near national park sites in 2023, a record high number which supported over 400,000 jobs.
When we think about the things that are working, I think we all agree national parks is one of those things.
National Park Conservation Association says the cut can affect at least 350 national park sites.
I think about Pigeon Forge, I think about Gatlinburg, I think about so many I think about Townsend, I think about all of these gateway communities.
From East Tennessee's black bears to the faces who made the Smoky Mountains, advocates say the great outdoors make up the East Tennessee way of living.
The national parks are they're the heartbeat of East Tennessee. They make so many things happen here.
The amount of carbon dioxide in the atmosphere continues to rise, but scientists say that tiny plankton in the ocean may be key to converting that CO2 to oxygen. Reporter Chase Kane traveled to Antarctica to show us how whales and their microscopic neighbors help maintain a critical balance.
I could try to describe what it's like to be surrounded by humpback whales in Antarctica, or hearing their underwater calls. But my face says it all. But this is not a whale watching cruise. These scientists from the California Ocean Alliance are here to study mammals which have been on Earth millions of years before humans, with a very important job.
Whales are almost like our ocean engineers. What the whales do is they actually excrete, as we all do, as all animals do. Whales defecate at the surface of the ocean with these essential nutrients that phytoplankton need to photosynthesize. All of this is relevant in terms of carbon sequestration and mitigating climate change.
NOAA research shows ocean phytoplankton pull as much carbon dioxide out of the atmosphere as 4 Amazon rainforests, largely thanks to whales. Despite that, global CO2 levels continue soaring because of pollution from coal, oil, and gas. So what happens when that becomes too much? Well, that's part of this research. Chloe and Lauren use their drone to measure the whale's overall health before it dives for food.
They're on their way to identify another whale. Because they have approval and permits to conduct this kind of research with whales in Antarctica, they can get much closer. But we have to stay back and keep our distance, especially when they're collecting a biopsy from the whales.
Their crossbow is specially designed to collect a small biopsy with minimal impact.
So this part goes into the whale, and this part stops it and allows the dart to float, and I just grab it out of the water. So the black part is the skin, and the pink part is the blubber.
Back on board the ship, they analyze the biopsies to understand the full weight of climate change on whales' health. Everything from rapidly melting sea ice to dwindling populations of krill, their food.
Basically, if the planet continues to warm and we get less sea ice, krill abundance is going to drop, going to affect their ability to support ecosystems in other parts of the world because of how much they migrate.
NOAA research shows it would take an average tree more than 1,500 years to sequester the amount of carbon dioxide a whale can in a single year. And even after their long lives, whales' benefit to our planet continues for centuries.
Most whales will die at sea. Their bodies will sink to the bottom of the ocean. We refer to that as a whale fall. And so that is huge amounts of carbon that is then sequestered to the deep ocean, and it becomes almost an oasis for life on the seafloor.
It is all very interconnected. I just know it behooves us to make the oceans a more hospitable place for whales because of all that they do.
In Antarctica, I'm National Climate Reporter Chase Kane.
This week, the Bald River Falls Bridge and River Road in Monroe County will reopen to traffic. Access to the popular 90-foot waterfall has been closed for just shy of 2 years after flooding damaged the road and the old bridge was no longer safe. Local business owners say this should bring a big boost to tourism and the economy for areas in and around Tellico Plains. This has been a journey, so this is a big deal for that area. Thank you so much for watching. And remember, you can always get the latest on the forecast with the 10 News app. It's free to download in the App Store.